Hi. What is this background? We know we are talking about Agatha tonight, so there we are. Hello,
I'm not
hello.
gonna lie, that looks very Christmassy, and I was gonna say, wait, what season are we in?
We are in spooky season, which is why we're
Ooh,
talking about none other than Agatha all along. Thank you guys for being here. If you're joining us, don't forget to like the video if you like the video. And keep in mind, this is an after show, so we are going into full spoilers of the episode. We're talking about episode 5 tonight. A lot happened, so let's get into it. But before we do, we always like to start off with a little, news. So
oh, what
today,
do you got?
yeah, we got two bits of news today, right? So one of them is directly related to Agatha, and the other one is related to an upcoming television show, superhero television show. Which would you like to hear first?
Let's talk about the one. Let's say Agatha news for the second part. But what's the first thing that you got that is not? It sounds like it's not Marvel related.
It is not Marvel related. In fact, it is DC related because it was announced a little while ago that there's going to be a Green Lantern show on HBO. Now, I'm excited for this because, as you know, HBO shows are, they go there. They got the budget. They got, they got everything they need to make a show good. I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, no, I'm for this. And one of the things I liked, and I did see this news, and I know that they had the voice actors for both Green Lantern for John Stewart
Oh, no,
and
it's actually going to be a live action. So
no,
they have actually cast both of them. I was about to get into that, but let's get
sure,
into
please.
what the show is supposed to be about when it does come out. It says 8 episodes, Lanterns, inspired by the Green Lanterns of DC Comics, sees John as the latest recruit to the Lanterns Corps, an intergalactic policing organization dedicated to protecting the cosmos. The chief weapon of the Lanterns is the Power Ring, which is fueled by willpower and grants its owner the ability to conjure virtually anything they can think of, including shields, offensive power blasts, armors, weapons, and constructions. John teams up with Hal, considered a legend among the Corps. As they police precincts Earth, they head to the American heartland to investigate a murder and find themselves in the midst of a dark Earth-based mystery that has large implications for overarching DCU plans that will stretch across movies and shows. So this is going to be the first DC show since James Gunn took over. I believe, of course, he had his hands in Peacemaker, but that's when he
Yes.
was just, he created that show before he came on as like the head of DC. So this is going to be interesting, and we have some casting news. A little while ago, they
Ooh.
did release the actor who will be playing our Hal Jordan, but today they also announced who will be playing our John Stewart. So we have Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre cast as Hal Jordan and John Stewart. What do you think about this? Because I'm excited because I remember Kyle Chandler from Friday Night Lights. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, and Aaron Pierre, he was just in that Netflix movie. I think it's called like Round Ridge or something Ridge, and it was actually pretty good. I saw it. What do you think about the casting?
Well, I'm not familiar with these actors, but when I saw Aaron, I remember when I saw Aaron immediately, I said, he has some fantastic eyebrows. I just wanted to throw that out there immediately. But I'm excited about this. I'm excited about this because I like when shows, I mean, not even shows, but like Marvel, DC, right? And they go with so I know that they had a Green Lantern movie. I remember that from what was that, 10, 12 years ago. And I love that they were like, okay, well, let's pick up on this property and let's go with this because I feel like a lot of times what they try to do, and once again, Marvel DCs, they'll go with the basics. So they'll go with something like, hey, let's throw out Wolverine, let's throw out Spider-Man, but let's throw out, and I don't think Green Lantern is someone who's like obscured or anybody by any means, but I feel like he doesn't get the spotlight and spotlight that I don't know if he deserved because I'm not like a big Green Lantern fan, but I feel like he doesn't get that spotlight. And he's someone I think in that same tier of like Superman, Wonder Woman, and Martial Manhunter. if you will.
Yeah,
And even Aquaman too. I sometimes sleep on Aquaman as well, but I don't think he's featured that much. And I feel like someone who knows comics so well might sit here and try to argue with me. And bro, I don't want to argue. I'm just saying, like, it's nice that they touch on different things.
Yeah, it seems like they've been trying to get Green Lantern off of the ground for a while now. It's always just kind of been, unfortunately, something hasn't worked out for it. But we'll see what happens with this live action. I have a lot of faith in HBO series for the most part. They usually are pretty good, especially if they have the budget. And I'm assuming this will have the budget given it's.
If I can ask you, I don't mean to interrupt you, madam, but like I know that right now they have the Penguin series. I think it's on episode 3 now. I just realized that because I thought they come on Thursday, but it's on Sundays. I was told by my little brother. But you were talking about how much you have faith in the HBO or the Max series, but how have you, without giving too much, how have you been feeling about Penguin?
I'm really enjoying the Penguin. It's probably one of my favorite shows on streaming right now. Shout out to Screen Static. I actually was just on his channel. Was it last night? Monday night. Yeah, Monday night, talking about the Penguin in the episode. So it's definitely fantastic. Hey, Elle, thanks for joining. But yeah, so let's get into the next bit of Marvel news that we have. We just transitioned out of DC news. Let's get into Marvel news because the numbers are in when it comes to Agatha. And apparently Agatha all along takes 2 #1 spots on Disney Plus, right? So shout out to comicbook.com for this information. Agatha all along has pushed its way into the head of the pack. In one surprising Marvel Studios metric, the Catherine Hahn-led series is #1 in continuation rate amongst MCU TV shows. That means people are tuning in and they're continuously watching throughout the episodes, and the viewership is growing. To put it plainly, more people are picking up Agatha all along and sticking with it week over week than any other show on Disney Plus era of Marvel TV. Variety spoke to the head of streaming, TV, and animations for the studio about the fast start to Agatha Harkness' solo show. A bunch of press was released that Agatha all along is the lowest budget Marvel TV show that dropped since 2020. So they're not spending too much coins to bring us this show here. The latest Disney Plus series has also managed to net 9.8 million views in the week it premiered and grow that number over time. That's crucial for ensuring shows place in pop culture conversation. So it's looking good for us Agatha fans out here. And shout out to the chat. We got 37 of you guys here already. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to hit that like and share. But apparently, because it's doing so well on such a low budget, right? It has not implications, but it seems that it may affect future Disney Plus shows, because the article goes on to mention Daredevil. So it says all of these developments have to be music to the ears of Disney's brass that sounded the call for changes across multiple divisions in the company being a huge priority. Marvel Studios decided to streamline their offerings a bit, and Agatha all along gives viewers a sneak peek at what's to come for the brand in 2025. Expect smaller scale stories on TV, which is important, which leads to more budget conscious choices. Brad Winboram, if I'm saying that correctly, executive producer of the latest MCU series, told Variety that Daredevil Born Again has learned a lot from the approach and is putting it to use already. That should make the show even more of a hit across social media. Fever for Charlie Cox's next appearance as the hero has only multiplied in recent months. So that sounds to me like, I don't know how it sounds to you, but it sounds to me like corporate spin of, we cutting the budget. Like, we see Agatha ain't spending that much money. We don't even got no magicians and no magics in going on Daredevil. We can cut the budget even more, and maybe people will still like it. I don't know how it sounds to you.
I don't even think you need to have a big budget when it comes to Daredevil, right? So I don't know what the budget was like for the Netflix stuff, but like, I just know, like, you talked about the magic, right? All I know is Daredevil was in the streets beating the hell can I say hell? Okay. He was beating the hell out of people in the street. Like, he didn't sit here and say, disappear, and then you was going away. No, he punched you in the face and maybe, well, no, I don't think he stabbed anyone. I think there was that one episode.
He was definitely punching people in the face.
He was punching people in the face. He was hurting people.
He was down. He was giving them the D throughout the series. I remember that in the next place.
I'm not gonna hold you. When he was wearing the black suit, walking in Hell's Kitchen, I didn't realize, and I've lived in New York all my life, I didn't realize we really had a Hell's Kitchen. I just thought they were just disrespecting us because we lived in New York. And nonetheless, I wanted to walk through Hell's Kitchen and beat people up, and I realized I don't have that combat training, so I will not. Because once you're trained by Sticks, you know that you can handle yourself. And I wasn't trained by anyone named Sticks. I was trained by nobody, actually. So,
well, shout out to the chat. There's 42 of you guys in here tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Also, if you're here, don't forget to follow Watch With Me LB. She has a great channel. Subscribe to her channel as well. We have Stevie J. I'm loving that we didn't have to wait until the finale for a good reveal, to be honest. Yes. A lot happened this episode. Let's see here. I also hope the showrunner gets another magic show. She's so good in this part of MCU. Well, we can only hope, but let's get
and real quick before we even jump into it, I love that this show is getting all the love that it. So I feel like there's been these Marvel shows that's happened, and I feel like a lot of people feel like, oh, Marvel lost its magic and all that stuff, and I'm loving that Marvel. And look, I mean, I like what DC doing. I hope that DC does well, obviously, but I'm a big Marvel fan, and I feel like a lot of people were kind of like, oh, Marvel lost the magic and they got complacent and all this stuff. So I'm loving hearing all this stuff about the people are a fan of this show and also want the best for, and I feel like Daredevil, I mean, I know we're not talking about that. We'll be reviewing that when that show comes out, but I'm loving that there's hope for Daredevil because I never lost hope for Daredevil. I never lost hope for Daredevil.
Me either. I'm excited. I was late to Daredevil. I came in late, as you know, during COVID 2020. That's when I finally sat down and watched Daredevil. But I was a big fan ever since. But it looks like we have another comment here. Hi, Kristen. The ending scene was, oh my God, exactly. It was such a shocker. But let's get into the episode. Thank you guys for being here this evening. Don't forget to like and share. But okay, we get into the episode, right? And we see that after all of these episodes, I was about to ask, because I was thinking, where the heck is the Salem 7? It was all this hoopla about the Salem 7. We haven't seen them since several episodes, right? But they made their return this episode. We had them stalking our girls and Guy down to the Witch's Road. So I thought the scene was very spooky, very Halloween-esque. Again, I do love the changes that they made to the Salem 7 because it makes them more formidable in a way. And a couple episodes back, if you check in our archive, we talked about when the Salem 7 was first introduced. I want to say that was episode 2. And their comic book versions are very caricature, very, comic book-y, if you will. So they made a lot of changes for the show, and I feel like it is for the better. They definitely give that spooky vibe. But our team, right, our coven, they have to get away. They have to escape. Lilia, she has a vision that, hey, the 7 are coming after us. We got to get the heck out of here, right? And we also have the reveal that they changed the backstory for the 7 because, as we know, as we discussed in episode 2, our after show episode 2, the Salem 7 was originally the children of Nicholas Scratch, who is the son of Agatha Harkness. But it seems that in the show, they kind of revamped that in a way. They said the Salem 7 are officially in the show the children of the victims of Agatha, who she let live. And they grew up to join to kind of create this hive mind and kind of come after her. So it's like a complete retcon of the comic book version of these characters, which I thought was interesting. So it seems like they're trying to almost transition away from that Nicholas Scratch connection. I wonder why, but we'll talk about it.
I feel like it was trying to have a combination of the comic, but also go in their own direction, because I did think about that conversation that we had. and he was mentioning how like, oh right, like these what are called, the COVID-7,
not the COVID-7,
no,
the Salem-7.
the Salem-7, right?
Salem-7 with it.
Right, but and like they changed it where instead it's, hey, Agatha, she I guess killed their parents, but she let the children live, and these children, and I feel like what it was pretty much these children, they had a safe haven where they were like, yo, she took out our parents. Let's get this girl back. Like, let's take her out and
take the revenge. Take the revenge. And as Agatha said, mercy is overrated. You got to take them all out. If you're taking out you got to take them all out just in case.
If I can pull the curtain back a little bit, I honestly thought you wrote the script.
Nobody got to know all about my anti-hero ways, okay? Okay. But shout out to the chat. There's 53 of you guys here with us this evening. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like the video and let us
tell us what you love about this.
What'd you say, Jack?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I was saying also tell us what you like about this episode, because I think this episode, especially at the end, I know we're gonna get there, but like I thought this episode was it was informative. I think is the best way to word it.
Yes, it was. So yeah, let us know what you thought about the episode in the chat. But our coven, they get away on broomsticks this episode. And I was like, oh yeah, we're getting more, coven-y, more witchy, more magical. Beautiful shot.
No, that's a great shot. But I wanted to ask, did you laugh at when they were pretty much like, yo, that's such a stereotype? No, absolutely not. Because they were really against that.
Oh yeah, especially Lilia, our girl. She was like, I can't stand brooms. They're like a symbol of domesticity and all of this. But as soon as it was time to get away, they were like, "Ooh, where the brooms at?" So I don't know. But as they were in the sky, it turns out that the witch's road is not going to let them go so easily. It starts to pull them back down to the road. It's like, hey, you're not getting, you got to be down here, right? And it led them to the next trial. Looks like we have a comment here. Hey, thanks for being here. It led it down to the next trial. What happened to?
That is hilarious. Like, I don't reveal too much, but we know that person. So yeah.
Well, we are also drunk on the show, so
I'm not gonna lie. This is not water in this cup. I will reveal that much. It's clear.
The witch's road pulls them back down to the road, and it leads them into the next trial.
But wasn't that interesting though? Like, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think that was so interesting to know that this road had like a gravity to it, because they were trying just to get away from the Salem-7, and the road was like, nah, if you really want this, you have to be on the road. And I just thought that was cool. I actually think that's interesting when you're breaking it down, that this road had a gravity to it.
Yeah, it did. They're not letting them get away so easy. No. So they get into the next trial. And as they walk through the door, it turns into like this 80s like clubhouse kind of vibe. Everyone has on like these new clothes, as they like to do whenever they have a trial. Mm-hmm. And it turns out they have to use this. They have to use this trial to use a Ouija board. I don't know if you've ever used a Ouija board before. I have not. That isn't my calling in witchdom. I don't know if you've used a Ouija board before.
Well, usually when I do witch stuff, it's definitely not that.
Okay, well, yeah, it's a lot.
I'm a high class witch. How dare you?
Oh, okay, coven here. But they have to use the Ouija board. They read off a set of rules. One of them being that everyone has to have their hands on the Ouija board. No one can let go. You can't ask about death. You have to say goodbye in order to release the spirits that you're speaking with. And it was interesting because as they were all decide to use the Ouija board, they connect with the spirits of none other than our girl, Mrs. Hart, apparently. The Ouija board says Mrs. Hart. And Agatha starts speaking through as Mrs. Hart, and it turns out it was just a hoax. She was just doing the most, and our girl, Rio called her out on it. She was like, "She's just scared. Let's stop wasting our time here." And as they decided to go back to the Ouija board again, Agatha became possessed for real this time. So much so that she came out looking like this. I was like, who the heck?
That's how I look like when I wake up in the morning, actually.
Well, you need to moisturize before you go to bed.
I'm doing the best I can, see. How dare you?
So yeah, she was possessed, and we find out,
mom, right?
Yeah, we find out that she was possessed by none other than her mother. And you guys might remember her mother from WandaVision. We did have a clip in WandaVision of Agatha on being crucified. He burned at the stake by her coven for breaking the rules. And her mother was actually like the sorceress supreme of that time. And as they try to zap her with her powers, of course, we see that she absorbs their powers. But to get back into this episode, the trial kind of leads to the ghost of Agatha's mother saying, hey, I need Agatha to stay here. You guys got to sacrifice Agatha in order to move on. And funnily enough, majority of the coven was down. Like they was like, yeah, she gotta go.
Can you blame them though? Like they know Agatha, they know like she's a turncoat and all that stuff. And Teen was really like, and shout out to Teen because he was loyal to hell with that woman. He was like flat out like, there's got to be another way, and everyone was like, no.
We can't leave her or mess with her. And everyone else was pulling out the ropes and the knives and the chains, ready to sacrifice Agatha. Looks like we have someone in the chat here. Hi, Andre. I knew who Teen was since the beginning, but the ending is suspicious. Maybe something is causing their fear to come to life. Maybe Teen always knew who he was, but maybe fear as well. I like the trial is not truly over. That is an interesting theory. We'll get into it.
I can't wait till we chat about that because I think that I agree with that. Agree with saying how interesting that is.
Yeah. So to bring it back to the scene, when everyone else was about to hang Agatha at the stake, our girl Alice, who again is the protection witch, right? We saw her trial last episode. She tries to come to Agatha's defense and release her from the hold of her mother. And to the point that Alice's powers actually returned. We got to see her use her powers. And it was in that moment, that was her fatal mistake, right? In that moment, she knew she effed up because Agatha and all of her, BS decides that this is the opportunity to steal Alice's powers. I don't know what you guys thought about that betrayal there. But I was like, I cannot believe Agatha just did this BS after Alice just tried to stick up for her.
I almost feel like it shouldn't be surprising because Agatha, I mean, I feel like since episode at least 2, it was revealed like she really isn't for herself. Teen after, I don't want to jump too far ahead here. But Teen, I know he was very upset at this. And I think it was actually interesting when this scene happened because when it happens, you see how close he got to Alice and how upset he was because he's been defending Agatha forever. Like Agatha could have just shot a dog. He was like, well, what did the dog do? That's the kind of the defense that he's been doing, right? But this, he really was like set off by this, and I said, okay,
right. Because we see in the process of stealing Alice's powers, she passes away. And when you steal the powers, you steal the life force, and the witch is dead. Unfortunately, R.I.P. But it looks like we got a couple comments. We got American Dreams, and now she's got her powers back. Agatha is a stealer. She for sure is. But when the powers are stolen, that kind of releases them from the trial. Right. And they get back into the witch's road, and Agatha comes up to Teen, and Teen saying, this can't be what covens are about, not about stealing each other's powers and, being cutthroat. And he said something about, I would never do this. And she, comes up to him very close and said, are you sure? Or something like that. Or that doesn't sound like you, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So that made me very curious because What does she know that we don't? And shortly after that scene, this is the big ending that everyone seems to be talking about. Um, Teen, he gets his powers. He has like this blue spark come across his hands, and he seems to have some sort of power set where he can take control over other individuals, because Jennifer and I believe it was Lilia, just they are underneath his control, and they take over Agatha and throw her off the road, causing her to sink into like this quicksand situation. And he doesn't stop there. Our boy Teen, with his crown, doesn't stop there. He takes Jennifer and Lilia and pushes both of those holes in the quicksand too, so they're sinking off the road as well.
Honestly, and I want to throw this out here too, because you was mentioning a lot of great things here, but I think we should actually include this as well. When she said, "You remind me so much of your mother," and I'm not gonna hold you. When I heard her say that, I said, "Whoa!" Because there's been so many theories about who this is and what this is, and I think there's a lot of people who pointed out and said that's Wiccan. I see in the chat, if you can highlight it,
Hey,
Wiccan baby, yes,
Wiccan baby, yes, and we have here. She said she's just like his mother. He's just like.
I just thought when you hear something like that, and once again, I've heard those rumors and stuff like that, and I just don't know enough about this character and the stuff about Agatha and all that stuff, and the characters and stuff in Marvel comics and stuff like that. But you hear it, you just go like, "Whoa!" And then when you see the crown, you even go, "Whoa!" I don't know. It was just it makes. I feel like this ending was so great that you have to watch episode 5 now, because how do you follow up from this? Like, you first off, bro got the crown, and when you have the crown, like, first off, plebeians, please. But like now it's like you have these other witches, and they're in this quicksand. And also, too, I do want to throw out here, because you was talking about Alice and her demise, right? Because now I'm wondering about this witch road. So are we going to only have one person completely
make it survive? It seems like that's what Agatha implied, or she did say one other person made it with her in the last episode. So there was at least 2 other people.
You just right. You're absolutely right. But it's just so she said that, right? And you had to take her word for it. But we're actually witnesses in real time, right? So as the viewers, and seeing people die, because like Miss Hart, who R.I.P. because we miss her. But like people are just like legit dying here.
People are being taken out.
Yeah.
But shout out to the chat. We got 62 of you guys in here with us this evening. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like the video and drop something in the chat. Let us know what you thought of the episode. Let's get into some of these comments here. I think from M. Lewis, I think she is his mother. Agatha, that has been my theory all along. I feel like Nicholas Scratch is somewhere in his body. We actually did get a kind of like verbal hallucination.
Yes. You told me when they did that I forget what game that is, and I know you mentioned it. I'm sorry, I just remember.
It's the Ouija board game, and during that time, we hear Agatha's son as a child saying, "Mom," or "Mom, no," or something like that. So there's definitely a presence of Nicholas Scratch, and it makes me think, if Agatha's mother was able to inhabit her body, would Nicholas Scratch be able to inhabit Wiccan's body? And maybe that's what that power was about. I wonder. But let's get into some of these comments still. CBJ, I think she figured out Scarlet Witch was his mom when the sigil didn't activate when he said Nick Scratch. Okay, that's interesting.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah.
We got Jennifer Harley. How did Agatha know that he was Wanda's son? I don't know. I don't know if she's saying you're just like your mother being Wanda, or you're just like your mother being me, Agatha, a sneaky beach.
I do want to comment a little bit on what Jennifer was saying. And shout out to you, Jennifer. Hi. I'm only going to think here about that is once it was revealed to her that that's not her son in the last episode where I'm sorry, I can't think of her name.
Rio.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm so terrible with name, guys. Forgive me. But Rio, when she mentioned that that's not your son, I feel like she started to put 2 and 2 together. I think there was something where, as time went on, she was like, "Oh, okay, I could put." You know what I think too, and if I can add this as well, I think that when Teen was revealed who he was. I think as time went on, Agatha was able to put things together because when he would say things, right, he had that curse, right, and he couldn't hear much, and she couldn't hear it. Yes, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm bad at my witching tonight. Forgive me, guys. I had a little too much witch juice, but yeah, I think she was able to put things together, and I get that. Well, we should have saw it as the viewer so it can be explained to us. But I'm just taking a hunch here. I could be totally wrong here, but that's my thoughts.
So I asked this question before, right? But I'll ask it now in the chat for you guys. Do you guys feel, let me know in the chat, will we get Wanda at all in this series? Do you think she'll return if this is in fact, Wiccan, as it was kind of revealed that it was? Do you think we'll get Wanda? But I actually wanted to touch back on the theory that we had in the chat. Let's see, from Andre. Andre said, here, I knew who Teen was since the beginning, but ending is suspicious. Maybe something is causing their fear to come to life. Maybe Teen always knew who he was, but maybe fears it as well. Do you feel as if Teen always knew who he was? Like if whoever's son he turns out to be, do you feel like he would know by the end of the season? Like a big reveal that he knew all along, like Agatha all along?
Did you just say the title theme? That was a banger. Like, as soon as you said, I could not help but laugh. This episode makes me think that, honestly. I think that I'm sorry. I think that he did, and he was holding back. So this episode makes me think that. I do.
I have a theory. It's time for another C theory, guys. I like to do this every episode. Based off of what we've seen, right? We see that possession is possible in this series. We saw it in this episode. I get the vibe that maybe Agatha is still possessed by the end. When she tells Teen, you're just like your mother, I don't feel like that's Agatha saying that. Even the smile that she gave in that scene was very creepy, very, villain-esque. And it didn't seem like the Agatha we've seen so far in the show. And it made me believe that possibly she could still be under the possession of her mother. So when she says to Teen, you're just like your mother, she could still possibly be talking about Agatha. And I also get the vibe that Teen may also have suffered some sort of possession, given that we did hear the voice of Nicholas Scratch in the trial just before they were released. It could be that both Agatha's mother and Nicholas Scratch possess the bodies of Teen and Agatha, and that's why we see like this character switch by the end of the episode. That's my theory. I don't know how you guys feel about it in the chat.
We got some comments here. Why don't we click on them and see what they're talking about?
All right, Stevie J, Rio's really suspicious. It said death was coming, and she was smiling, laughing, staring at Agatha when the Ouija board said death. Thank you for bringing that up, because in several episodes that we've been doing the after show, I've been saying that Rio has to be Lady Death at this point. At the beginning, before the show even began, Marvel released like these little clips or like little teaser images, and I believe I still have it here. And it seems that the tarot cards represent several of the ladies, and I feel like Lady Death has to be our Rio there. But that's interesting. Thanks for bringing that up in the chat. Let's see here. M. Lewis, I feel like him witnessing loss caused his powers to come to the surface. Okay, kind of like in Harry Potter, when you see death, you get to see, what's it called? Those, I forget the name, but yeah, if death is very powerful in like the witchy world, so I wouldn't be surprised. Jennifer says that was Wanda's crown. Ooh, wait, hold on. Yeah, well,
you didn't realize that? Yeah, look at the crown.
Yeah. It does look very similar.
That was crazy. Like, that's the thing, especially when she said, "You're just like your mother." Oh, I'm living here, and then you see the crown. You're like, "Whoa!"
Ooh, that's a good one. All right, M. Lewis. Let's see, Stevie J. Lilia said another tarot card name in this episode too. I wonder if she'll reveal that Rio is death. Okay, I can't wait to see what happens. There's 71 of you guys in here with us tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like the video and join us in the chat and let us know what you thought of the episode. But that was pretty much the whole episode. Yeah, we love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Please subscribe. But that was pretty much the whole episode. It was a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about. And I really enjoyed this episode. I feel like whenever we have like these 8 episode series, we always get to the nitty gritty of things by episode 5 or 6. And this is episode 5, and we definitely got a bunch of reveals here. But yeah, what did you think of the episode all in all?
I felt like this episode revealed a lot, and it made me go like, man, I gotta see what episode 6 is about here. And you know, I think you're on point here when you talk about like, hey, around episode 5 things, because episode 6 they're going, if I'm correct, they're doing 8 episodes, so they have to get to that meat and potatoes about it. So I'm interested in seeing how this all plays out, and I'm also interested in seeing if these witches are actually dead. So like, I still guys in the chat, I still have hope that one Miss Hart will be brought back, because I think that she should be brought back to water her flowers. She didn't ask for any of this stuff to be walking on the witch's road. She wanted to just water flowers. So I hope that she gets a return. Alex,
we'll see what happens, because I did see when the ladies were pushed off the road, it seems as if they maybe were pushed off and will end up in another area of the road, because it didn't look like they're
not done. Yeah, they're gonna. I feel like this is to create like conflict for our heroes, right? Like, we got pushed off the road, and now how will the heroes recover from this? And then they somehow do, because Agatha, at the end of the day, Agatha is going to be getting back all her powers. I can't talk about the other witches. I'm pretty sure they're just going to be dead too. I feel like they're just going to make sure that Agatha, I'm sorry, just like, I feel like they're going to be dead. Like, I feel like everyone dies except Agatha. Teen is going to get his ass whooped, because teenagers should get their ass whooped.
Oh, Lord.
Well, I know I'm going on a rant, but like,
there's actually 73 of you guys in here tonight. Thank you so much. Let's get into these comments real quickly before we end the episode. We got here from M. Lewis. What if Agatha put the binding on her baby, thus teen? Are you talking about the sigil? I think that could be I feel like that could be an option. I feel like Agatha did possibly put the sigil on teen. Jeremy, great episode. Way too short, but fire nonetheless. This was one of the shorter episodes. I noticed it was only like 30-something minutes.
32 minutes.
The episode was only like 37 minutes or something like that.
32.
But with that being said, we are also at 37 minutes here on this episode. So we will be ending. If you enjoyed the video, if you liked the video, please like the video and join us next Wednesday. After every Agatha show, we do an after show every Agatha show. So join us next Wednesday immediately after Agatha All Along, and we'll discuss it with you guys. We'll chat about it. And don't forget to subscribe to our channels, both See the Superior and Unpopular Review. And we'll see you next week, guys. Oh, yeah, 76, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for being here. See ya. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.